studios. Our next guest is a former NBA veteran, played in two NBA finals, Fox Sports Radio NBA analyst, our man Kerry Kittles. Kerry, what up, man?
What's up?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
We are good. We're good, man. But look, Kerry, all
Chris
three
is
of
off
us,
the Nets bandwagon. Chris is off the Nets bandwagon, Kerry. I want you to know.
I will make my official pick before the playoffs start. But, Kerry, I'm not going to lie. I'm concerned. You heard the news about James Harden now, the hamstring. Yeah. Yes. Come on, man. Like, I'm supposed to think they're going to be healthy through the playoffs when they couldn't be healthy at all through the regular season? I mean, what are you concerned?
I'm concerned. I mean, I told you guys, before that I was hoping that they can get at least 10 games together prior to the playoffs starting, and now we're seeing Durant out. We're seeing Harden's injury, setback. I mean, this is concerning. You definitely don't want this heading into the playoffs. You need to have established some rhythm. You need to have established some camaraderie with your team. Your rotations have to be almost pretty much set, way prior to the playoffs. And right now, it's just we don't know. LaMarcus Aldridge is gone now, so this is a different team. Different,
but we've seen a lot of injuries all around the league too. You don't know what the Lakers are going to be like. This might be the year of the survival of the fittest, Kerry. You know what I mean? Like, who's the healthiest, not who's the best.
Yeah, this is definitely the case. I mean, Embiid missed some time. I mean, a lot of guys have been out. Lakers have had their fair share of injuries. So it's been going around the league for, this season, and we're going to see which team is able to, piece everything together and peak at the right time.
Now, Kerry, I think it was last week when you were on, you talked about how, with the game being so much simpler now, everybody's running high pick and roll or high pick and pop, drive and kick, space up around the three-point line.
No plays, really,
that is
right?
easier, for a Harden and a Durant to stay. But even with that, I mean, you played in knockdown, drag-out playoff series, to get to the finals and all that. I wonder if the Nets, even if let's say they're healthy, and Durant, Kyrie, and Harden have 8 games they played together heading into the playoffs, and they get into a tough series with Milwaukee or whoever, where they're D'ing them up, and it's tough. I just wonder how if they don't have time together on the court before that, how they're going to handle it. Do you revert to your natural instincts of what you've done most of your career when you didn't play with 2 other superstars? Like, talk about that. I mean, the necessity. You mentioned it earlier, but how does that come into play in a tough playoff series?
It definitely comes into play because I think the way the Nets are constructed, everything is built around these 3 guys, and all the rest of their role players feed off of these guys and how they're playing and what level they're playing at. So we saw Durant come back recently, and the first couple of games, he wasn't the old Durant. It took him 3 games to kind of get his rhythm going before his shot was falling down and he was making them, as consistent as he can. So those guys need time on the court, not necessarily to play together and develop chemistry. I think the chemistry will happen pretty quickly because, as I said before, the style of play. But just finding your rhythm with your shot and your flow of your game, seeing the ball going in consistently, you don't want to be trying to find that out during the playoffs. Yeah. So I think that's the most important thing is just getting a rhythm, their legs, their fatigue, and just, figuring those things out. You don't want to have to do that during the playoffs.
What about the Lakers? They got bad news, too, that LeBron James is still weeks away. What do you make of that?
The same situation. I mean, LeBron has always been there, and we haven't seen him, deal with this kind of, challenge in his career. But definitely, he needs a rhythm as well. I mean, you wanted to see where guys are just sitting back and forcing you to shoot contested jumpers. If your flow isn't there and you're not, knocking down shots consistently, it makes the defense that much harder to score on. So, LeBron needs time on the court. Kevin Durant needs time on the court. James Harden needs time on the court. And I'm talking at least 8 games. Otherwise, it's going to be challenging. If you're playing against Milwaukee, I don't care. If you're playing against Boston, it's going to be a dragged-out series.
Kerry, Steph Curry, man, what he's doing, I think he's more impressive than he was when his second MVP averaged 30. They won 73 games. Just because the defense doesn't have Klay to worry about. They don't have other guys to worry about, so they're loading up on him. What do you make of what he's doing?
my gosh, it's really incredible, honestly, to see a guy score at that level with so much attention. And he's not a big guy; he's 6'3", right? You got to get that shot off over guys, and there's long guys across the league, and we know, right? The most of his shots are behind the arc. So, defenses are key. You have scouting reports. You have all these analytics, and they're showing you every single thing that's going to happen before it happens, and you still can't stop it. And when he shoots the ball, the net barely moves. It's like he's rewriting the game right now. We're watching it in real time. This is history right now, guys. I'm telling you, it's history. And, what he's doing, what Lillard is doing as smaller guards in this league, Kyrie Irving, it's just incredible to watch. It really is. Their skill level on a night-to-night basis with so much attention, I mean, who's ever done that before? It's the bigs in the league back in the day when you were taking jump hooks and drawing fouls and getting to the line and whatever. That's different. These guys are moving around. They're shooting from behind almost the half-court line with guys in their faces, and they're running around screens, and it's just incredible, honestly. It's incredible.
I still would take Ray Allen or Reggie Miller over Steph Curry in a big game for a big shot. Am I wrong?
I mean, Reggie is tough to go. I mean, Reggie was super clutch. I mean, it just looks different now, right? The games we were watching in the 90s was a different game. So, but what these guys are doing is remarkable. I mean, so you're saying that he's not clutch? I mean, this guy.
I'll give you. I'm just going off of this. Is it Rob G 0 for 9 or 0 for 10 where he needs to make the big shot at the end in the playoffs to tie or win the game for his team? He's 0 for 9, and he hasn't made one of those shots. I'm not here to take apart his career. He's a great player. But I'm talking about clutch. So you can make all those shots that you make, those half-court, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But there comes a time, Kerry, where you got to knock down that shot for people to call somebody the greatest shooter. That's why I can't get on board.
I think he's the greatest
with
shooter.
Being the greatest shooter because he hasn't made those shots. Not all 9 for 9, Kerry. You understand what I'm saying? But you got to knock down a couple of those for me to go, man, not only does he do it in the regular season, he's come up big time in the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to do it when the moment calls for it, right? I mean, this is what makes Jordan, to me, the all-time greatest players, because in those moments where we needed Jordan to show up and he's going up against the tough defenses against the Knicks, the Pistons, or whoever, Jordan is making that shot. He's going to take it and it's going to go in. And, I agree with you. I think Steph is there. I mean, in the regular season, in playoffs, he's made big shots. He's had a lot of great moments in his career. But I think you're right. You got to make the biggest shots in order to be in that category. We've seen Reggie do it in those big moments. Maybe not in the finals, right? But we've seen Reggie do it. We've seen Ray Allen do it.
Ray Allen's probably, Chris, that shot in Miami might be one of the greatest shots in NBA history.
I think it's one of the two. That one in Kyrie.
Right, Kerry?
Yes.
I think.
That Kyrie made, the one that Kyrie made, that sidestep three in that moment.
But here's the thing. Nobody would call Kyrie Irving a better shooter than Steph Curry.
No, I didn't say that. I'm talking about clutch.
Just because he made the big shot.
No, but I'm saying if you want to call somebody the greatest shooter of all time, there's got to be some clutch baskets in there as well. That's all I'm saying.
He's got some in the regular season.
That's why I'm not on board, Kerry. I mean, people want to call me a hater. I can't be on board when you're 0 for 9. I just can't be.
Let me ask you this, Kerry, because Rob and I talked earlier about all these injuries. Now Damian Lillard's down with a hamstring. Obviously, the two Nets stars.
But didn't I tell you guys last week about this style of play, right?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, because we were saying we thought it was the the condensed offseason where they only got 71 days.
Okay.
But you think it's just the style of play, like it's just too fast.
I beg to differ. I think when you look at how much time they missed because of COVID, right, before the bubble started, that kind of cancels out to me the short off season that they had after the bubble was over, right? I think it cancels itself out. I think you're going to start seeing this more with all these guys. You're seeing with these bigs and their bodies, and now you're seeing it with the wings and the guards now with hamstrings. That's I don't know, man. Like we'll have this debate for the next 3 to 5 years, and of course the analysts are going to prove us right or wrong. But just from my eye and my experience around the game and watching some games up close a couple of years ago at the Nets and seeing the pace of play, it's incredible to watch up close. It's hard to sustain a healthy body. And remember, these guys aren't practicing at all. We were in our bodies 6 days a week when I played. The game has changed so much. They play 3 nights or 4 nights a week, and those other nights they're off their legs totally. And so and they still can't stay healthy with these kind of soreness injuries. Not LeBron ankle sprain, but the hamstring with Harden and now Lillard. It's the
so
place to play, man.
Is it more because they aren't a lot? We used to think of fast breaking and fast play as you're getting a lot of breakaway layups and dunks and 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s. We're not seeing that. But is it just that the floor is more spread, so your body's moving more in the half court, herky jerky, all that stuff?
Way more. You're moving a lot more. It's because that court is spread out now. You got to cover a lot more distance. And remember, when I played, in the '90s, right? Someone got picked on. So on defense, you get to chase Reggie every now and then, those kinds of players. But for the most part, if you weren't getting picked on, you were resting. Now you're not resting. When you watch these dribble handoffs and these driving kicks and the ball getting swung around, you're seeing guys running all over the court on defense. And that wears, it's called torque. That torque you're putting on your joints every possession. Now you got to do it on defense. Before you did it on offense when you were trying to score. Now you have to do it on defense as well. I'm guarantee you the mileage on a night-to-night basis has multiplied over the last 5 to 10 years. Multiplied. And the torque, if you were to do physics and you look at how much torque from changing directions every single possession, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I just think you're going to see this more and more. The rest is going to be even more common. You're going to see more guys just taking time off. Even though guys like Lillard want to play when they're healthy, they're going to be forced to take time off because of the injuries and prevention.
That's good stuff, man.
It
really
is very good
insight.
knowledge. And just for your FYI, I'm Muslim and I don't eat torque, so we're the same boat.
Kerry, don't feel obligated to
Thanks,
laugh.
Kerry. Kerry laughed. He liked it. It was funny.
He's polite. He's a nice guy.
I don't eat torque, right? Come on, Kerry. That was
corny.
funny. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Kerry. Great stuff, man. We appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys. You have a good one. Appreciate it.
Yeah.